Members, the House has resumed, and the House was debating the first reading of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Covered Bonds Amendment Bill. When the House rose for the dinner adjournment, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove had the call. He has some time left remaining. He doesn't appear to want to take that as some other members seeking the call. David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Banks just said he feels a call coming on, so that would be interesting. This is a bill which tends to have the support of all members of the House at this stage, which is very unusual. I think it's the first time the Green Party has actually voted with the government. Second time, is it, Chris? Well, it's good on them. It's good to see them being positive about New Zealand's future for once and supporting good moves made by a good government in the best interests of the community. And even the New Zealand First Party, the perennial knockers of the New Zealand public, are voting for this bill as well. So that's good to see. I don't know what's happened. They must be getting close to the budget and wanting to be supportive of a good budget that represents a good plan for a country going ahead. So I think that's what I think's happening. They've seen the light. They've seen the brighter future and decided to be part of it. So we're very fortunate to have the support of all parties in this House. But I think it does represent the importance of the bill that parties do support it, because a lot of people have lost a lot of money in the finance markets over the past few years, and it's a very turbulent and delicate market at the moment with what's going on in Europe. And so it's important that New Zealand has the best regulations that are possible to make sure that we secure the safety of that market for our banks, our institutions, our Reserve Bank, our customers and our investors. And this bill is an important part of doing that because it relates to something called covered bonds, which maybe that's the reason why we're getting the New Zealand First and Green Party support for it. They like the idea of covered bonds, I don't know. But it's something that the ordinary punter out there would not know or have to deal with in their normal course of business. But it's a tool used in our financial system, and most countries have structures around it. New Zealand doesn't, and so it's important that we do so. That's important to give our financial system that security, but it's also important for the simplicity and safety of investment in New Zealand. The covered bond approach, I think there was one issue raised by Mr Cunliffe in regard to it from the Labour Party, and he tended to looked at the situation of a covered bond in a very extreme situation rather than taking into account the reality of how they're used. And they are a device which the investors will know what they're getting into, in the sense that it's a very well-used device around the world, and where they have that separate pool of assets called the cover pool, that basically the unsecured creditors become secured over that base through taking a joint ownership in the risk on the bank. And so what we've done in this bill is we've clarified those situations, and we've also put limitations on them so that they don't raise situations where there's an unusual amount of money that's invested through this process that would call into account the greater stability of any institution. So this is good legislation. It shows that the government is proactive in looking after our financial sector, so that we have a strong financial sector which enables the country to prosper and grow. It's pleasing to see the other parties in this House supporting it, and hopefully that's a recognition that they see the importance of providing that stability to our financial sector going forward as well. So we look forward to it passing through the House, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker.
David Clark, this is